Putin admits Russia has suffered huge losses in Ukraine.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russian President Vladimir Putin may have accidentally admitted to losing over 360,000 troops in his country's war with Ukraine. Putin made the admission during an annual 4-hour press conference in Moscow on Friday. But there was also the invasion group and those who were recruited before mobilization. And this is around 250,000. That is, Putin literally admitted irretrievable losses in the amount of 363,000 people. Despite the figures from Matveev, it is not clear that Putin was admitting to 363,000 lost soldiers. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine claimed in a Facebook post on Wednesday that Russia had lost 342,800 troops since first launching its invasion on February 24, 2022. Russia has also claimed that Ukraine is suffering a high number of troop deaths during the war, with Putin saying in October that Kyiv had lost 90,000 troops since starting its latest counteroffensive in June alone. Putin said the Ukrainian death toll was simply huge, and at approximately 1:8 as a ratio to Russian deaths, likely inadvertently suggesting that Moscow's losses were more than 11,000 since the counteroffensive started.
This post received a score of 3,400, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Think about the long-term consequences. Lower birth rates, tens of thousands of disabled, it's a demographic bomb.
He won't live long enough for it. He's trying to establish his legacy and that's it. There's literally no other reason I can think of. When you're old and a narcissist like him, that's all you care about.
To erect a statue that the next generation will topple?
No, to try and force Russia and its population in his mindset. This is probably one of his main goals with this war, to forever drive a wedge between the West and Russia in the Russians' minds. I think he did not like the way young people of Russia did not really care about its imperialistic past and getting back its so-called glory. Some did buy into Putler's delusion and think that either Russia wins it or ceases to exist in the case of evil West's victory.
Does this ideology hold any promises of anything other than perpetual war? Can the lost glory, lost riches, lost respect, lost society ever be regained?
Such promises speak greatly to the feelings and minds of those that remember the good old days where our country was a superpower that everyone respected. At least, when your country is the one conquering others. Geopolitics are dirty, and there is a great deal of bad blood between the two countries. Our country is corrupt, and the democracy is easy to meddle with when it is in a such sad state. Unless the invasion is repelled completely, the followers of this ideology would paint it as a win, the proof of their beliefs being true and leading Russia to a place where everyone would have to contend with it. There is no other way to break those lies. I hope the West finally understands the severity of the situation and does much more in the way of military support to force Russian forces out of Ukraine. It will not stop here if land gains are allowed to held onto. The threat of sabotage from within the NATO itself and Western countries face is no joke, and traitors such as Trump and Orban must be dealt with before comes a time when NATO would be tested.
I feel like the West should have reacted to the severity of the situation with Crimea. When they didn't, it was hard for me to believe they ever would.
I suppose you are right, but hope dies the last, as they say. There is still some left.
Greater than Putin admits Russia has suffered huge losses in Ukraine. And he knows he can go right on sending people to their deaths with no consequences and still be re-elected in a historic landslide election.
I'm adding 395k votes because they proved they'll die for me. They obviously would have voted for me too.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.